Larry Doyle here, welcoming all of you to another season of Indians baseball.
Here's a list of players we'll be inviting to camp.
This guy here is dead.
Who is that?
Serrano.
What's his religion? Voodoo.
Hey! Willie Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, and I run like Hayes. How you doing? What the hell league you been playing in?
California Penal.
The first offering, just a bit outside.
They're masters of the sacrifice.
He's looking to sacrifice a live chicken.
These things make me look ridiculous.
Seeing's the most important thing. I don't think it's that important.
That ball wouldn't have been out of a lot of parks.
Name one.
Yellowstone.
I kept that thing in there, the Yellowstone comment. I know why, sweetie?
Why?
Because it's not in the movie.
True.
It's part of the trailer or something like that. So welcome, everybody. My name's Todd Adams. I'm with Zen Pop.
I am as well. This is Kathy Adams. I think the funniest part of that when the guy says, he's like, here's a roster of our guys. And he's like, this guy's dead.
Yeah, and she's like, cross him off the list. Cinetherapy.
Swedish, just cinema.
Cinema
Therapy.
Therapy.
Just two words, yeah.
We're here to help you figure out all of your...
deeper issues through watching movies.
especially Major League. Last week we did Dirty Dancing, and there was some depth
There was.
to Dirty Dancing. I think we have to work a little bit harder for the depth in Major League.
I'm ready.
And
I
we're
got
doing it because it's baseball season. The Giants play the Yankees on Wednesday night, and full slate of Major League Baseball as we were recording on March 29th. So,
We've actually already been to a baseball game.
oh my gosh.
We went to the Cubs game yesterday.
Yes, we did.
It was our second game. They won.
They won a lot to a little. They
So
beat the Nationals.
The trajectory is a little better.
Yes. And we're doing Major League because we've already done Field of Dreams. Is that right?
We have.
We could have done The Natural, but it's kind of a downer.
No.
We have not done Bull Durham. I think I would have preferred to have done Bull Durham. Maybe we'll...
Really? But Major League is what we watch all the time.
So let's do this really quick. Which movie do you like?
Boy, it's hot.
Major League.
Bull Durham.
Yes. Let me be clear. Bull Durham is a better movie, meaning there's more depth to it. There's more of an arc. There's more deeper messages, maybe even better acting. But what movie can I throw on and just watch in the background easily? Major League.
I can't take credit for this. This is from Bill Simmons because I would listen to the rewatchables on Major League. So it's his idea. But
Okay.
as much as I love Tim Robbins and Bull Durham, I think it's a better movie with Charlie Sheen as Nuke LaLoosh.
I think Charlie Sheen does a good job being dumb. And let me explain what I mean. I know he plays, like in this movie, he plays Ricky Vaughn, who's supposed to be, he just got out of prison. Or we'll talk about his role in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's like a drug addict. But his whole thing is that he's smarter than everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he has an edge to him. Smarter, maybe not textbook wise. But in Bull Durham, I feel like Tim Robbins' role is he's kind of dim.
Yes, he is. He's a dim light bulb.
Winning.
Do you really think that?
Winning.
Charlie Sheen's probably more dim now than he was then.
I think Charlie Sheen kind of plays a dumber. You know, doesn't he have the menu upside down?
He does, but there's something.
And when they're in the French restaurant,
there's dim, like, and you know, we could really argue about this because this is like what is splitting hairs.
Yeah.
I totally know he's supposed to play down and out characters
Yeah.
or not intellectually smart, but there's something that you trust him that he's holding his own.
Yeah.
And Tim Robbins is supposed to be like the kind of guy who thinks he's got it all together, but the joke is that he doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you feel the difference between those things?
a little bit. And I love Bull Durham. There, part of me is
Sure.
like, don't change anything about it.
Right.
It just would have been an interesting take. The one thing I will say, Charlie Sheen is, I am always so hypersensitive and hyper aware on how coordinated somebody is in a sports movie. And I always think to myself, oh, I could have done it better than whether it's basketball or wrestling or baseball or football, because I grew up playing all these sports and most actors grow up acting.
Right.
But Charlie Sheen is bringing the heat. He's throwing 85.
Right.
His form is really good. So we might talk a little bit about that.
Well, he was a pitcher in
He
real
was.
life.
He
Yeah.
was.
So he was able to play himself in that way.
So anything else you want to say before we set the
Let's
scene?
just dive into the movie.
Let's do. All right. I'm going to set the scene, and there. Let's see. I got to move all the way up to the top. Good old Todd's not ready for this. 1989.
Yep. Year I graduated from high school.
That's right. Tom Berenger plays Jake Taylor. Charlie Sheen is Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn. Wesley Snipes, Willie Mays Hayes, James Gammon, manager Lou Brown. He reminds me of an old boss I used to have, Mike Hannon. He had the same grisly voice.
How old do you think he's supposed to be in this movie?
Probably our age, right?
I think he's probably supposed to be younger.
Younger, yeah. Who knows? Renee Russo, it's her film debut.
Oh.
She was a model before that.
I believe that.
Bob Uecker plays Harry Doyle. Corbin Burnson plays Roger Dorn. Dennis Haysbert, a lot of good actors in this movie, plays Pedro Serrano. And then we get into people I've never heard of. So
what's that guy's name again? The coach?
His name is James Gammon.
James Gammon.
Not James Gum, sweetie.
No, that would be Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
In Major League. I'm just looking it up to see how old he is because it reminds me a little bit of Cocoon when they were all like young. Todd, he was 48.
Yeah.
He's 48.
48, yeah.
I'm 54.
So 1989, and then I'm going to do my little 3-act thing.
Okay.
First, where is that? Rolling in the deep.
Maybe I can say a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Paramount Pictures did this movie. It was made for about $11 million. It made $75 million worldwide. So it was a pretty big hit for kind of a mid-budget comedy.
Yep.
And it was filmed in Milwaukee primarily.
Which means what in the native tongue?
The Good Land.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
But it was a stand-in for Cleveland because obviously this movie is about the Cleveland Indians, but they used the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium.
Yeah, I think the Brewers were out of there by then. I'm not quite sure, but Cleveland there's way too much going on in the Cleveland Stadium to be able to use.
So are Cleveland, just in a bigger picture, are they considered kind of like lovable losers? Like,
yes.
They played the Cubs in the World Series. Is that right? When the Cubs
2016.
won. So how long had it been since Cleveland had won? Because I was so not paying attention to Cleveland, obviously.
I think at the time they're the Indians, now they're the Cleveland Guardians. I think the last time they have won a World Series up until right now, I believe, is like 1947.
Okay, so that was huge for Cleveland.
So they were also kind of lovable losers as the Cubbies were.
Got it.
Which is interesting.
Okay. All right.
Anything else on Set the Scene before I do my 3-act summary?
No, go ahead. Do your 3-act.
First, so and do this.
Isn't Milwaukee an Indian name?
Yes, Pete, it is. Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land.
That's right.
I was not aware of that.
Thank you, Alice Cooper.
All right, so now we're going to play a game.
Shall we play a game?
Yes, Josh. 3-act. New Cleveland Indians owner Rachel Phelps assembles the worst Roger roster imaginable, secretly hoping the team loses enough to break its stadium contract and move to Miami. The ragtag group of misfits arrives at spring training with zero expectations and even less cohesion. Act 2. The players discover Phelps' sabotage plot and decide to win out of spite, rallying around a bulletin board photo of her and a growing sense of team identity. Veteran catcher Jake Taylor reconnects his ex Lynn with while the roster begins to gel. Wild Thing, Willie Mays Hayes, Pedro Serrano each find their stride. And then finally in Act 3, the Indians claw their way to a 1-game playoff against the Yankees for the division title, with every player rising to the moment. Taylor sacrifices a clean swing to lay down a squeeze bunt. The Indians win, and Phelps is outmaneuvered. Cleveland is staying. Okay,
so that was fine. It was very AI because it had things like Claude.
Yeah.
People don't say that. But I have a question. Was Rachel correct that if they were in last place, she could move them to Florida?
No, if you remember, just because we watched this, was it yesterday morning? Oh my God, it was yesterday morning. There's a clause in the contract.
Okay, clause.
That says if attendance drops below 800,000 people for the year, she can move them.
Got it. And
So it has nothing to do with wins and losses.
That's what I was going to say. Why that's so dumb is she's still wanting them to lose the pennant or whatever, but by that time the stadium's full.
That's exactly right. So the whole premise of this movie is a little flawed in that the minute they started winning, I'm sure they attracted, 30, 40,000 people, and it doesn't take very long to get to 800,000 for the year.
Right.
So it's a little, it's not a tight movie. Let's just say that.
Yes, and also they had an alternate ending. Do you remember that part?
I sure did. That's going to come in random facts.
Okay, I won't blow that. So do we want to do, because you were talking about, what's his name? Dennis Haysbert, and he plays a guy named Pedro Serrano, right?
Yes.
And I want to do a new category called Kathy Fights with AI.
Okay, let's do that.
Can you play a song for me? Okay, so just kind of in the background, just but quiet. You can turn it off. I don't care because it set the tone.
And this is from West Side Story.
Yes, this is from West Side Story. It's called The Rumble.
This is you battling with AI.
I'm battling with AI, and this is why. So I was trying to remember what Serrano's first name was. Okay, so I put into AI what's Serrano's first name. That is not part of it. And it said, this is what it said to me. You ready?
Yeah.
He was played by Dennis Haysbert. True. He was a power-hitting outfielder from Cuba.
Yeah.
Also true.
Defected.
Known for crushing fastballs, being helpless against curveballs. True.
So far, they're locked in.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, good, thanks. But I just want to know what his first name was. Serrano practices a form of spiritual devotion to Joe Boo. Also true. A small voodoo figure he keeps in his locker. Joe Boo is my favorite thing about this entire movie.
Really?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, okay.
And AI didn't say that. I'm saying that on the
Kathy
side.
saying it.
And it says, it's funny, but oddly sincere. He's not ironic about it. And here's what they said next. And when Joe Boo doesn't come through, Serrano says, up your butt, Joe Boo. Okay, so this is not true.
Yeah.
So you understand that's not true.
Yeah, we know who says up your butt, Joe Boo.
So I said, and then it goes on to talk about Serrano being comic relief, blah, blah, blah. I can do this for you. I'm like, I need none of that. And I wrote, no AI. The other guy says that. What Serrano says is,
up your butt, Joe Boo.
What Serrano says is, F you, Joe Boo. I do it myself.
That's right.
And then this is what AI says to me. The rumble gets rumbly.
Uh-oh.
Rumble, the AI says, no, you're so close. This is one of those lines everyone, right? It's rumbling. This is one of those lines everyone remembers, but they slightly misattribute. It is actually Pedro Serrano who says, up your butt, Joe Boo, in Major League. This is what happens in the scene. Serrano spends the movie relying on Joe Boo. Joe Boo doesn't come through. And when it doesn't work, he snaps, F you, Joe Boo, I do it myself. And I'm like, correct. That is what he says. And then I say, no, the guy I'm talking about, the guy who says up your butt, Joe Boo, is the Christian pitcher.
Yeah.
You are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So still rumbling.
Yep.
AI says, you're right to question it because there are two different Joe Boo moments and they do get blended together all the time, but you're wrong. These both come from Pedro Serrano.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
And I'm not even done.
Okay.
I'm not good. I'm skipping over so much of what
Hold
AI.
on, I got to get some more Rumble music.
AI is really getting me mad.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know for a fact, and they're trying to tell me who Eddie Harris, the Christian pitcher, is. I'm like, I'm aware of all this. And he said, so weirdly, these are both quotes that are trying to control something uncontrollable, but Serrano says both of them. I said, no. Eddie Harris takes a drink of Joe Boo's rum and says, up your butt, Joe Boo, and then gets hit in the head with a bat. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
AI says, no, you're remembering a real moment.
Oh, boy.
You're just splicing together two beats from the same scene.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Todd, we are rumbling. And then it says, here's how it actually plays out. And then it tells me the whole thing. I don't want to bore you. And then he says, then Harris says, Jesus, I like him very much, but he no help with the curveball.
Yeah.
Okay, now AI is getting crazy. Because Harris said none of that.
No.
That's what Serrano says.
Yeah.
And then it says later in that arc, Serrano, frustrated that Jobu isn't helping Harris or him, says, "Up your butt, Jobu."
He's just making shit up now.
Oh my God, Todd, I'm so mad. So, and it says why your memory is blending them. And honestly, this makes sense, is that whole locker room sequence is cut quickly and plays like one comedic rhythm. So it feels like continuous bit, but your brain has stitched it together into one moment. And that bat bonk you're talking about is just chaos that adds to your blur. Todd. What's happening? AI. Okay, so this is what I did.
Uh-oh.
I found the clip.
Is the Rumble over yet?
No.
Okay.
I found the clip that you just played. Do you want to play it again? Where Harris says, "Up your butt, Jobu."
Oh, sorry.
Trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
That was also Harris.
Yes.
Do you have it ready, or should I move on?
Oh, this might be the whole scene. It's 22 seconds, so it's not too long.
Cut in a little bit.
No, it's kind of blind.
Up your butt, Jobu.
Okay, that's Eddie Harris. So I took that clip, put it into AI, and I said, "Hey, watch this." AI and I are totally scrapping.
Yeah.
And then it says to me, "Okay, you're not crazy. I watched that clip. You're right about it."
Wow. That took a lot of convincing.
And then it says Eddie Harris walks up to the shrine, drinks Jobu's rum, and he does say, "Up your butt, Jobu."
So you finally proved him wrong. Does
Todd,
he finally
I won.
admit he's wrong?
He did, but then he tried to tell me other things about the character, like he was trying to make up for the fact that he didn't know that.
Now we play a game.
So that's all I got.
I think we should call Joshua from War Games.
I think that Joshua's too nice of a name. It needs to be like something more annoying.
Jerk off?
I don't know, but he was so wrong, and he said, "No, you're blurring this together."
Here's the thing. We can ask chat or Claude or whomever that is that you happen to be talking to.
Rumbling with?
Help me understand E equals MC squared with good detail.
Oh, yeah.
It would crush it.
Sure.
But it can't figure out about Eddie Harris and Pedro Serrano
It
and
can't
Jabu.
figure out. I like that you say it, Jabu.
Jabu.
It's
Jabu needs refill.
It's
I know.
Jobu.
I know. It's kind of an old joke between me and a college buddy.
okay. Anyway.
Jabu.
It's Jobu, and he was fighting with me, and I was telling him I was right, and then he started to like add new lies, like that Ed Harris had said, or that Serrano had said something he hadn't. So I'm just saying the Rumble was completed, and I was victorious. That's all.
I wish I had this. No, I can't find it. I was going to do Joe lies when he cries. We should just call AI Joe.
Because he lies.
Yeah.
And I will tell you the truth is that I also, the other day I had to figure out, my friends and I are going on a vacation together, and there's all this like different money situation, like who paid, who didn't yet, who now someone else is coming. How do we add all this up? And probably for your average person, that would be easy. But for Kathy, that's not. So I just put all this information into chat, and it gave me a mathematical answer. That was correct.
They're good at certain things.
Exactly. But it just doesn't understand Jobu.
No.
Okay.
It's got a mind block towards that.
I know. So, okay. So I'm complete with that session of the Rumble.
All right. Are we ready to remember when? I got one.
Okay, go ahead. I remember when.
Sweetie, do you remember watch this when you were sick?
Yes. Yeah.
Why did I make fun of you for that viewing?
Because I had the flu. It was last December, 2024, actually. And so it was longer ago. And I had the flu, and I watched Major League because that's what people do when they're sick.
Yeah.
And I cried when Jake hit the home run.
Just like, wow, you're really in an open, vulnerable, heart-centered place here.
Very raw.
You cried. Yeah, I don't know if I ever would even think about crying during that scene.
Okay, so you and I have seen Major League.
Did you see when Jake hit the home run?
Or when he hit the bunt.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that bunt a little bit later.
He allowed the run to come in from Willie Mays Hayes.
He did.
And he got to first base barely because Jake's knees are not good.
No, you can tell the way he runs.
He runs like he barely has any movement in his hips.
Ligaments, missing some ligaments or whatever.
It just looks so painful. But he does it. And I was sick and everything just feels heightened.
That's the only remember one entry I have, but I felt the need to do that. Do you have anything?
I don't have any specifics, unfortunately. I don't remember the first time I saw it, but what I can tell you is I've seen it more times than your average bear.
Yeah. Me too.
And it's something you and I have put on, just for the hell of it. It used to come on, for those Gen Xers listening, it used to come on TBS, TNT, like it was just on TV all the time.
I'm going to throw some scenes at you. Actually, I don't know. Do we have a best scene thing? Rolling in the Deep, best quote. I'll just do that. Oh, here's.
Okay.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Tell me which of these you think are the best scene, and if I don't have one that you think of, just say that one.
Okay.
Wild Things First, big appearance in the big Yankee game.
That's the most iconic scene from this.
Because they got the music going, and he's all pumped up.
And everybody's got their signs.
And he's throwing fire. So it's wonderful.
And he looks really hot.
Secondly, but even though his glasses, I think his glasses are meant to look like he's a nerd, but they're good looking glasses.
This is what I mean about Ricky Vaughn not being dumb. He has to wear those glasses, but you remember there's a skull and crossbones in the middle of it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like they're supposed to be tough, And so it just he's a great pitcher. He's a great ball player.
Yeah, he is.
So it's like Tim Robbins. I'm sorry, I'm going back to Bull Durham, but he's like wearing Annie's underwear. He's like doing things that are a little crazy.
Yeah.
And I understand all ball players, and we'll get to this, have certain things, superstitions that they do.
Yep.
But he's like a little more like loosey-goosey, and I think Rick is more, he's got his act together. Put it this way, I think Rick knows what he's doing when he's in prison, in the prison system.
I think you're right.
Right?
Yep. What's cool about the scene, and maybe I'm saying this too early, but the reason this movie is so good is because the last Yankees game, the Yankees-Indians game, it's probably a good 25-minute part of the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't have, I think they had like maybe 20,000 people there, but obviously the stadium fills like 40, so they had to keep shooting where the backdrop is. It's as if the entire stadium is full,
right.
when in fact it's probably half full.
And did you know people, it's kind of like when Ferris Bueller's Day Off was shot and everybody's like, I was in the movie. Did you know people who were in the stadium for Major League?
No,
I feel like people would talk about being like, I was there.
Possibly, but no, I don't know. So I just think it's cut in a very good way where they give you the energy and the emotion of it. Because it's kind of hard to do. Think about it. Like they either have to do, like, think of Rocky 1. We might do Rocky next week.
Yeah.
Nobody knew in 1976 that this was going to be a Best Picture. Sylvester Stallone had no money. There was no extras. So if you see the fight scene from Rocky, there's no background because there's nobody in that boxing arena. So the fact that they really went for it makes the movie, I think that's why it's such a good movie, because the ending is so good. It's cut so well. The energy of it, the emotion of it.
Well, and it has to be there to demonstrate. First of all, they, when the Indians start that season, nobody knows the roster. Everybody's supposedly not good or just has-beens. So they demonstrate that through nobody's at the game, except those three that play the drums.
Yeah, I love those guys.
It's too high.
Yeah.
Besides them and a few others, nobody's there. So you're getting the extreme version of look at how many people show up now for this team. So, and everybody's in love with Vaughn. Everybody's got signs that say Wild Thing. People have T-shirts that say Wild Thing.
Yeah.
Like even the old guys have T-shirts that say Wild Thing.
Where you going? Too high? What does that mean, too high? Too high.
So Vaughn is off to a rocky start as Haywood clears the bases with one swing.
Not too high, too hard, right?
First it was really high. Who gives a shit? It's gone.
That might be the best moment of the movie for me.
When he
because
says too
it's
high.
such a funny thing, because there are times when the the ball is struck well, but it is hit with a high trajectory. So even though they hit it well, it's just they got a little too underneath it.
Well, I think two reasons that too high would be a problem is number one, if it ends up being a pop up, you know what I mean? Like it just, or number two, it ends up going foul because it becomes a foul ball.
All possibilities. But from somebody who grew up playing baseball, we said that over and over and over.
You said too high as a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It's too high, I thought. Who gives a shit? It's gone. It's really, and that's what fans do. They argue about stupid shit.
And I think that he says to him, you meant too hard, right?
Too hard.
Said too hard.
No.
He's like, no.
Well, there used to be an argument with, I don't know, was it a sports radio station? But they talked about the term a towering line drive.
Okay.
They're like, well, it can't be a line drive and towering at the same time.
Oxymoron?
But if you see Barry Bonds or Mark McGwire or insert any number of home run hitters like
Sammy Sosa,
they hit 500 feet, you could describe it as a towering line drive. They hit it so hard and they hit it up. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, okay. I don't know where, best scene. So Jake Taylor's squeeze bunt to win it. That's that's like a scene within the scene. Pedro Serrano's crisis of faith at the plate. So these are all in the Yankees-Indians scene.
Right.
Harry Doyle's radio calls, that's not a scene, but that's more of a part of the movie.
And then his partner drinking the Jack Daniels because he's so nervous.
Yes. And then finally, and I say this last part as a joke, Taylor confronting his ex-girlfriend's fiance at dinner. So can we just talk about that whole storyline?
In WTF, we can.
Let's go there.
Well, but we're not even through random facts. We're still in Remember When.
We haven't even started random facts.
Right.
Here.
So put a pin in Lynn Wells.
Do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds? Jerry, do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
All right, you start.
Okay, so for random facts, a few things. As we already said, Charlie Sheen was an actual real baseball player in high school, and it said he had a 90 plus miles per hour fastball. So that's what
I read 85, but close enough.
Yeah. He did his own pitching, which is why it looks legit.
And he also did steroids.
Yes, and he's admitted to that later. He was like, of course I did. How else would I have been able to throw that ball? So we're like, great. That's great news. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen his documentary, it's a treat.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. So it says that Tom Berenger wasn't the obvious choice for the role of Jake. They said he trained really hard to look like a worn down catcher, which made me laugh because how do you train hard to look like a worn down catcher? I'm going to say this kind of a mixture of Remember When and random facts. I was never bothered by Tom Berenger in this role. I thought he kind of looked like a guy who had played baseball and that was going to have one more year. When you and I started watching this movie together 20 years ago or whatever, you were like, he's the worst ball player. And I had never really noticed that.
He can't really throw that well.
Right.
And he can't really swing the bat that well. So, yeah.
He's a good catcher, though.
No, he's not. It's actually a body double. It's a guy named Steve Yeager who used to play for the Dodgers.
Oh.
And Steve Yeager was the third base coach, so he was an actor in the movie, but he also was the one with the catcher's mask on a lot of the time.
Well, then there I was duped.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he seems like he's pretty good. The other thing is that Willie Mays Hayes, played by Wesley Snipes. There is only one Wesley Snipes. He's not in the sequel. He was replaced by Omar Epps.
And I read it's because he got too big for his britches.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I think Roger or what's the guy's name from Psych? The dad from Psych, LA Law guy.
Corbin
Burnson. It's kind of a cool name. Yeah. Corbin Burnson. He's like, you can do the sequel. Wesley Snipes is like, really? No. And Corbin Burnson was like a big actor at the time. He did LA Law.
LA Law. I mean, he had some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Wesley Snipes. So anyway, the baseball playing is surprisingly real. They use real baseball players and coaches, like you just said, to train the actors. Many extras were minor league players, etc. We already talked about it was shot at the Milwaukee County Stadium. I already talked to you about the budget, and I think we already talked about the lose on purpose thing. Rachel Phelps's reason that seemed kind of crazy. So that's all I have, Todd.
Bob Uecker improvised a significant portion of Harry Doyle's lines. Just a bit outside was his own addition.
His first offering, just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Which is funny because
it's so far
outside. And then if you notice Wesley Snipes, I should pull this up, but his first at bat of the season, he like does a check swing ground ball that's like just dribbling.
Yeah,
and he's
I know.
Hey, there's a hot shot in the hole. The guy knocks it down. He didn't do any of that stuff. So he's really embellishing to make it sound.
And then remember when he's like, "Listen to the stadium," and he's like putting on the microphone, and he's like, I have to say, I wasn't going to tell this story because I tend to go on tangents, but why not? Wesley Snipes.
On target.
Sorry, I'm just going to tell this, and I'm going to see if you can find it.
Okay.
On 30 Rock. Do you think you can find it?
Maybe.
So there is a 30 Rock subplot that Liz Lemon, who cannot find a partner to settle down with, meets this British guy, and it's played by Michael Sheen, and his name is Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
And it's a really funny subplot because she's like, Wesley Snipes, really? And he says, who looks more like a Wesley Snipes, me or the other guy?
Yeah.
And then he also has a scene where he says, when they're breaking up, and he says, there's only one Wesley Snipes. And she says, that's not true.
Yes.
So we have lots of funny jokes about him.
I don't know.
Because the universe wanted me to run into you again. And I finally think I know why.
Commencing eye roll sequence.
The universe wants us to settle for one another. Well, there has to be a reason this keeps happening to us, Liz. I think fate is telling us this is the best we're ever going to get. We're each other's settling soulmates.
I can't find where he says there's only one Wesley Snipes.
She's like, that's not true. Yeah. But anyway, that's just a very funny, that's 30 Rock for you. That's funny.
Yes.
That is funny. Okay, so anyway, I am done with random facts.
Major League was one of 3 baseball movies released in 1989. Bull Durham, and Field of Dreams, and Major League.
Wow.
All 1989. It's kind of crazy.
We actually, while we were at the Cubs game yesterday, there was Todd and I, and then JC and her friend Logan, and we just went back and forth talking about baseball movies, like categories game.
Yeah.
And we did pretty well.
Not bad.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot more than what we even said, but there's a lot that are from like the 50s and the 60s that we don't even know about.
Yes. And there's a lot like the girl, like JC and Logan were saying things like from their childhood, like The Sandlot and Angels in the Outfield. And I don't really know those movies.
So let's just go right now.
Okay.
So go back and forth.
Bull Durham.
Major League.
Field of Dreams.
Sandlot.
Fever Pitch.
The Natural.
For the Love of the Game.
We said the big ones, Field of Dreams. We said Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, and Major League, correct?
Correct.
I said The Natural.
Uh-huh.
Babe.
8 Men Out.
Ugh.
Were you going to say that next?
No, but I'm starting to run dry.
Okay.
I feel like I am.
What about The Sandlot 2?
Yeah, we're not going to do sequels.
Okay.
That's too boring. But there's a whole bunch. There's one about the Lou Gehrig story. I don't know what it's called. I should know what that's called.
And then there's one that Chadwick Boseman's in called 41.
Oh, yeah, 41.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson.
You
want to see what we missed?
Yes, let's hear it.
All right, let's hear it. List all baseball movies. Let's see if we have better luck with the AI.
Oh, it's going to lie to us. It's going to say, sorry, you've mixed together memories.
A League of Their Own.
Oh, duh.
Duh. Moneyball. Duh. Pride of the Yankees. That's what I was thinking of.
I haven't seen that.
42, 8 Men Out. 61.
I said 41. His number was 42.
Yeah, 42. 61. That's about Roger Maris beating Babe Ruth's home run record. The Rookie. Never seen it. Jackie Robinson story. I've seen parts of that, and Jackie Robinson plays himself.
Cool.
The Babe. Fear Strikes Out.
No.
Oh, story of Jimmy Pearsall. That's interesting. Cobb, about Ty Cobb.
Oh, Ty Cobb. That was what's his name from The Fugitive.
Yeah.
We're having a problem. Tommy Lee Jones.
Mid-50s problem. Bad News Bears.
Oh, Bad News Bears.
Little Big League. A 12-year-old inherits and manages the Minnesota Twins. Angels in the Outfield, we said that. Mr. Baseball. Tom Selleck plays an American star traded to a Japanese team.
Could we say Parenthood because he coaches the baseball league?
Ball. Keanu Reeves coaches a youth team in Chicago Projects. Sugar, an indie favorite about a Dominican pitcher's journey to the minors.
Okay.
And then a bunch I've never even heard of.
Okay. Well, then we did pretty well.
Naked Gun.
Oh, I said Naked Gun yesterday.
Doesn't count. Ferris Bueller doesn't count.
It has some
it's
baseball.
It's not a baseball movie.
The one that we were dumb is Moneyball and
Yes.
Bad News Bears.
For
and
sure.
Then
Yeah, we missed a lot of
Yeah, okay.
obvious ones.
and League of Their Own. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The film's theatrical run overlapped with the famous 1989 World Series, interrupted by the Loma Prieta earthquake, making an unusual year in baseball's cultural footprint. I remember that. I was watching it.
Really?
And the game hadn't even begun yet. Al Michaels started doing the kind of pregame stuff, and then the TV went blank. I'm like, what happened? It's so
Wow.
weird.
Scary.
According to the writer-director David S. Ward, Wesley Snipes was not a very skilled at baseball and never had played much before. Ward says Snipes was so awful at throwing a baseball that they have
He
no
never-
scenes of him throwing a ball.
I don't even know what position he plays.
He played center field, I think.
They did not. They focused on him stealing bases, and that was it.
Yeah.
I can throw a baseball.
Yeah, you can. Ward, though, did praise Snipes for being able to master hitting pop-ups. That's true. It's not easy to hit a pop-up
True.
straight up.
Then he had to do push-ups.
And then he had to do push-ups. Dennis Haysbert, who played Pedro Serrano, actually hit multiple home runs on camera while filming Major League.
I believe it.
It is not easy to do. Now, that dude is a monster.
Yes.
In the final game when Haysbert hit his final home run, he was so excited he forgot to drop the bat and ran the bases despite it not being in the script.
No. When he hits that one, he runs the bases holding the bat.
Correct.
And I was going to say to you, I bet he's doing that because he talked to the bat. Because that's when he says, "F you, Joe Boo, I'll do it myself."
Apparently, it's a Dennis Haysbert miss that he just forgot to let go of it. And I did do a little research, and there's nothing against the rules about carrying your bat around. Harry Doyle's line "just a bit outside," which became one of the film's most memorable catchphrases, wasn't in the script.
You already said
made that up. Most of the filming was done in 1988 in Milwaukee. This is easily apparent in the final playoff game, where most of the players are wearing long sleeve and jackets to indicate a cool fall night, whereas most of the people in the stands are wearing short sleeve T-shirts and shorts. That should be under the hidden gems category.
And those are dumb things. People get so focused on that. Like, it's kind of like, the people making the movie, I know they're a lot more thoughtful about these things now, and I appreciate that because now we have streaming and we, watch things over and over and over again, but it's so minor.
Life relief pitcher Mitch Williams with the Chicago Cubs at the time of the film's release was inspired to model himself after the Rick Vaughn character. He began to wear the number 99 and had Wild Thing played when entering games, shortly earning the nickname Wild Thing. In addition, the modern day tradition of relief pitchers, mainly closers, having their own intro songs was inspired by this film.
I believe it. So who did Bobby Jenks have as his
I don't remember. Rest in peace, Bobby Jenks.
Yeah.
He was a closer for the White Sox in 2005. The opponent slugger known as Yankees home run threat Haywood was played by former pitcher of the Milwaukee Brewers, Peter Vukovich. I remember him, sort of. Vukovich never hit a single home run in his entire 11-year major league career because he was a pitcher. That one's too long and boring.
That's not a real thing anymore because of what's his name on the Dodgers, because he's a pitcher and he hits home runs. Shohei. Yeah. People would be like, "Oh, he's a pitcher, so he can't bat." But
I'm a little ashamed that I didn't know this. When Willie says he runs like Hayes, he's referring to Bullet Bob Hayes. Hayes won gold in the 100-meter dash in the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. I had no idea. I'm like Hayes, who's Hayes? So, anyways, all right, that's what I got.
Okay,
are we ready for WTF?
WTF, please.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
All right. I only have 3 of these, but they're kind of hot takes. So why don't you start?
Okay, so I'm going to start with a really simple one, which is Eddie Harris's cheating. Eddie Harris is the pitcher. He and Ricky Vaughn are the pitchers. And Eddie is kind of the older one, and he, if you didn't get this already, he's the one who says "up your butt, Joe Boo."
Up your butt, Joe Boo.
And he cheats. He has Vaseline on his chest. He has like some kind of thing on his neck. He talks about using snot to throw the ball. Now I get it. He's saying I'm getting older and I'll use anything I can. But I guess I want to know how common that is, because he's putting Vaseline on it and he's talking about putting snot on his ball like it's something okay. No. And I would think you'd get in trouble for that.
It's illegal. It's called a spitball.
Right?
Yeah. And now they actually, when the pitchers walk off towards their dugout at the end of an inning,
They check 'em.
sometimes the umpire will have them check their hands.
Yep.
And the glove.
I feel like you and I were watching a game where they show, and it probably happens all the time and I'm oblivious to it, but where that was happening. And I said, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a thing. So now let's talk about my other one, which I'm sure is yours as well, is the character Rene Russo plays, who is Lynn Wells.
Yep.
Again, this is a typical 80s movie. I
figure this would be rolling in the deep. We're going to do it in WTF?
Well, yes, WTF. Because here's the thing. This is a typical 80s movie in that there's a lot of inappropriate behavior in this movie. Obviously, a lot of the commentary about the Indians using a lot of slurs and slang that isn't appropriate. You know, talking about voodoo and religion and just a lot of things that are very typical 80s. You know, not all of it would fly today. Obviously, this is a 1989 movie. Another thing that's very typical 80s is there's really only one female. Oh, no, there's two female characters. One is Lynn. The other one is Rachel. Rachel's awful, right? She's horrible. And then Lynn is supposed to be our good character, but she's actually not making great choices in the big picture because she obviously has dated Jake, 3 years previous, and she's with a new guy. She's engaged, and she sleeps with Jake. And, she's kind of like, this isn't going to mean anything. Just, we're going to do this. And also, Jake, is not great because he's stalking her.
Yeah.
He, a few times,
he's a stalker.
He's a stalker. He literally walks in her apartment. Like Todd and I, during the movie yesterday, we're like, how is everyone walking in people's apartments so easily? I mean, one, he goes in the elevator and then it opens up to her, fiance's house.
Yep.
But another one is he follows her home and walks in her apartment and they have sex. But then he comes back, walks in her apartment and it's empty. It's like, why is this door open? So that's confusing. That's a little bit of WTF as well.
I'm obsessed. Thank you very much.
It's a big time Kirby Kager kind of situation. So, and then at the end, I also think it's a poor choice that she's going to end up with Jake. I mean, girl. Come on.
Yeah.
This is not a guy who you really want to commit your life to. But this is, again, very 80s where it's like they made this overture and I'm going to give him an 8th chance to show me love.
Just a very, minimizing portrait of a woman.
Of women. Yeah. And all, that's what
None
I
of
mean.
the women. There's 3 women in this movie, I think.
I said 2. Who's the third?
Dorn's wife.
Suzanne. That's right. And she makes awful choices as well.
Yeah.
Now, he does too. The thing is it's not about it's all the woman's fault. I'm very aware of the fact that Dorn, she sees him cheat on her on national TV.
Correct.
So he's a jerk. But instead of being like, dude, what is going on? She goes to meet Rick Vaughn at a bar and suggests they sleep together.
Yeah.
And they do. And he didn't know that was Dorn's wife. So she's kind of a manipulative person
Yeah,
instead
and it's
of.
just interesting that she doesn't try to get away with it either. The next morning, she says to Roger, hey, just so you know, I slept with Rick Vaughn last night.
And she says to Rick, my name is Suzanne Dorn.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is just very typical. Women are out to get you. Women are manipulative and guys are cheaters. That's the message.
And stalkers.
And stalkers.
I'm obsessed. Thank you very much.
Kirby.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see. One more. Willie Mays Hayes going to camp. Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie starts with these guys showing up for camp because they were called and said, please come be on the Cleveland Indians. He just shows up.
Yeah.
And he somehow makes the team.
He's fast.
Yeah.
Even though he's not fast at all. The reason we know this is because the director put it to slow motion, because if it was fast motion, normal motion, you'd be able to see, wow, this guy is really slow.
And they probably did that with Jake when he's running to first base as well. How did he know to show up?
I have no idea.
Okay. So, WTF.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
My big one on WTF is, I guess, 2 things. I don't know if these are hot takes or WTF entries. First thing is on the winning slide, Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, yep.
Now, he does a certain slide. I don't even know what it's called. I'm trying to look it up. I forget. It's been so long. But there are different types of sliding in baseball. There's a bent leg slide, which you slide into second base and then you pop right up. You put your your ankle behind your left knee. At least the way I do it.
Okay.
He did like some type of hook slide, and the last thing that touches the plate, the first thing that touches his plate is the last thing on his body. So I just don't think it's a very smart slide to do in that moment. He did it well because he was trying to avoid the tag.
Yeah.
But I think you got to go in head first and have the first thing that shows up. Like his whole body's already past home plate.
Which is a waste of
distance.
Energy. Yes, exactly. Distance.
And the other thing that drives me nuts about this movie is the spoon, and I usually like being spoon-fed movie things, but obviously Jake Taylor, everybody thinks he's going to try to hit away, but instead he does a bunt, which is more of like a swinging bunt.
Sweet, he points to the outfield.
He points to the outfield, which is just kind of cheesy and dumb.
Even though I cried.
But they focus in on the third baseman, and they literally catch him saying, shit.
Shit, right.
Like, yeah, we get it. Like, nobody's expecting this. Do we really have to hear the third baseman look surprised and say shit? And apparently the correct answer is yes.
Yeah, because they did it.
But as a baseball fan, I think I would already know that.
Right. And didn't we debate whether at that point there were 2 outs or 3 outs?
Yes, and I don't remember that. I thought there was only 1 out in that moment, and it would have been more dramatic if there was 2 outs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. But yes, 1 out or 2 outs. But I had remembered it that Jake, he actually was safe, but I remembered it that it didn't matter if he was safe. Because
like even if he was out, and Hayes still scored, they would have won.
That's not true. If it would have been 2 outs.
If there was 2 outs, but I think there was 1 out.
Right. And so the debate was less because if there was 2 outs, then he would have been.
Yeah, 1 out or 2 outs in that moment. And we could probably go back and look, but I don't know what it is. So those are my WTFs.
Okay, rolling in the deep.
Rolling in the deep.
I'm digging. I found something.
What do you got?
Okay, let's start with, if you guys remember, is kind of like what we learned from the movie or the deep messages. And so let's talk about the first one. What do we do when our old identity that we focused on loses meaning or it starts to not work anymore? Okay. So for example, Ricky Vaughn, he's kind of chaos. You know, he's in prison. He's in the penal system playing baseball, and that's his identity. But it's not this chaos, especially the way he throws and manages himself, is not working. Right. And so he has to learn to get his life under better control. Like he has to stop sleeping with random people that end up being his teammate's wife. And he also has to wear glasses, and he also has to learn to control that pitch if they're going to win. Were you going to say something about that?
No, I have my own rolling in the deep, but I'm going to wait for you.
Jake Taylor, he has to let go of who he used to be. He used to be a player, and he couldn't settle down, and he was sleeping with stewardesses and cheating on his girlfriend, Lynn. And now he's like, I want to be a stand-up guy, and I want to have a future with this woman, and what I was doing before doesn't work. So he's got to let go of that identity.
I think he's the coach in Major League 2.
Oh, interesting. That makes total sense. And then like Serrano, you know, his whole character arc is outsourcing his belief. Like he believes that giving Joe Boo the rum and the cigarette is what's helping him hit, which again, we can all have forms of prayer, and we can all have forms of, visualizing something or asking for support from the universe. But really in the end, he has to figure out how to believe in himself. And so our identity isn't fixed. It's they're negotiating it under pressure. And so that's one thing.
Yep.
So did you want to say anything about that?
Nope.
Okay, so the next one is I like this one, the competence on their team. It's not just technical, it's emotional, right? Yes, they have to learn, Willie Mays Hayes has to learn how to not do pop-up flies, and Jake has to learn how to throw better to second, because there's actually a scene where he's throwing to second and it doesn't get there.
No,
remember?
Yep.
Which that's what a catcher has to do.
Or he throws it over their heads.
Exactly. Yeah. And Rick has to learn how to pitch everything. But really what they have to figure out is their emotionality. Their competence becomes about getting their act together, becoming a team, having something to focus on, having each other's back. Like I told Todd that one of my favorite parts is because, going back to Eddie Harris taking Joe Boo's rum and then saying, up your butt, Joe Boo. He is a Christian, and he doesn't believe that Joe Boo should be in the locker room. He doesn't like that. But then he starts to kind of be like, okay, we all have our things, because after he takes Joe Boo's rum, he gets hit in the head with a bat. He's like, oh, shit. So at the end of the movie, there's a scene where he and Serrano are like hugging and dancing, like, you know, kumbaya, let's all get along, right? And also, you know, that Dorn, his whole character arc is about is he protecting his ego, he's protecting his face. He's like, I'm not going to play for very much longer. So he's very self-focused, and he ends up playing more for the team. Not only at the end does he like allow himself to take a lot of balls to the chest, and have a bunch of bruises, but after he finds out that his wife has cheated on him with Rick, he keeps that anger in until the game is over. Yeah. So there's this emotional competency that's, you know, it's not just their technical skills. This is a very typical, like every movie about a sports team, it's about them coming together emotionally.
My quick question is, rolling in the deep, is so Dorn,
correct,
is mad at Vaughn,
right,
because Vaughn slept with his wife.
Yes.
But he doesn't. There's that part where he hands him the ball and he's like, straight this MFer out.
Correct.
But then after they win, he punches him right in the face. Charlie Sheen falls on his butt. Like, is that the end of the conflict resolution? Like, are we done now? Like, is everything okay?
I mean, it's a movie,
yeah, right.
So but I like that because it demonstrates that Dorn is focusing on the team and not just him.
Yes, that's true.
And then he punches him and then also gets him up and gives him a hug.
He does.
So I think it's a comedy.
It's
a
the way
movie.
guys resolve their differences.
Right.
They just punch each other and that's it.
And again, Rick tolerates it because it's Ricky Vaughn.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, whatever. Okay, and I have one more. Okay.
What do you got?
My last rolling in the deep is, don't we all have a Joe Boo? Don't we all have something that and I'm not just talking about it in the religious way that, you know, people pray to Jesus or God or, you know, whatever kind of divinity they have in their life. But I mean, there are baseball players who wear certain socks.
Baseball is known for its superstitions.
Yes. And that things that we do to besides pray are, you know, things that we do to make sure that we win or to have consistency or, you know, those are just things we do in sports. So we all kind of have some version of that.
That's right.
And, you know, we like having something external to feel more in control.
Yeah.
And I definitely do. I do things like I have a wish jar and I write wishes and I put them in a jar. I have a journal where I write out, you know, ideas that I have or visions that I have or hopes that I have. I have vision boards that all over our house that I've made over the years. I kind of feel like if you want something, you have to be clear. And the things I want are not things like cars. It's things like I want to, for me, you know, with anxiety, it's like I want to find calmer ways to manage this, or something for my children, you know, some experience that I hope they have that helps them through something or whatever. It's rarely about stuff. It's more about, I want to find ways through this that are more healthy.
You ready to hear a few superstitions? Famous or maybe not so famous?
Go ahead.
Reliever Turk Wendell, I remember the name, but I don't know why, was a walking collection of quirks. His most famous move was brushing his teeth in the dugout between every single inning.
Ugh.
It can't be good for your teeth, right?
Well, is brushing your teeth ever bad?
He also, because there's an enamel on your teeth.
True.
Yeah. He also insisted on wearing a necklace made of the teeth of animals he had hunted.
Oof.
Yikes.
Rough.
The Chicken Man, Hall of Famer Wade Boggs, ate fried chicken before every single game of his 18-year career. That's over 2,400 chickens. But the bird was just a start. He woke up at the exact same time every day. He took exactly 117 ground balls in practice. He began his sprints at exactly 7:17 p.m. There's no
That's
way.
almost OCD.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, there's things we do like wear the same pair of socks, but a lot of that sounds really stressful.
Ready for the least comfortable one? I've heard of this. Moises Alou. You know who Moises Alou is?
I know the name. Was he on the Cubs?
Yeah, he's the one that got mad at Bartman when Bartman reached over.
Yes, I remember.
To toughen up, so this is Moises Alou and Jorge Posada, who's a catcher for the Yankees. To toughen up their skin and prevent blisters without wearing batting gloves, both Alou and Posada families admitted to urinating on their own hands during spring training and throughout the season. They claimed the urea helped callus their skin better than any medical treatment.
All right. That is a choice.
The golden thong, Jason Giambi. Whenever Giambi fell into a hitting slump, he would break out a lucky golden silk thong and wear it under his uniform.
Kind of like Tim Robbins in Bull Durham, wearing women's underwear.
So anyways, okay. That's all I got. So where are we at now?
So my hidden gem. Shimmer. Okay, so you kind of already said Gem, which was Bob Uecker, because Bob Uecker's such kind of like a Gen X. I wouldn't call him an icon. He was just around.
Oh, yeah.
Like Bob Uecker's so part of our, growing up experience. He was a real MLB catcher, which I didn't know that, but it was brief. He was a real broadcaster for the Milwaukee Brewers, so that's where he worked already. And then he's in this movie playing himself, and he was kind of one of those.
9-0. Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
That's really funny.
He was kind of like on the Tonight Show all the time with Johnny Carson. He was on commercials. He was on sitcom appearances. He was kind of like one of those guys who's famous for being famous. And we didn't really question it that much. He was just kind of always playing the version of somebody who's been there, done that, all that kind of stuff.
Very good. Okay. Time to move on. Just real quick. The whole Rene Russo Derringer thing. Like, I haven't made fun of this yet, but the very end of the movie.
Thank you.
Is a screenshot, or they pause
a still
shot. And they all like elevate her, I think, on their shoulders or something like that.
What's going on?
She has nothing. Nobody knows who she is other than Tom Berenger. But all of a sudden, she becomes the centerpiece of this movie.
And then he brings her down, and she's like, that whole thing. What? How was she in the front row of that game?
Well, even that, like, okay, whatever. Like, she shows her hand that she's not engaged anymore. But just give me more of Serrano and Vaughn, and give me and I love Rene Russo, and I think she's really good as an actress in this movie. But the story is just like, I think they're like, well, we got to come up with something other than baseball for this movie, and I think they should have just done baseball.
I agree.
Just give me more baseball.
I mean, it is Jake's arc. Like, what else would be Jake's arc if it wasn't him getting back with his girlfriend, right? Like, he has to have some redemption story. But yeah, I pointed that out too yesterday. I'm like, this scene so annoys me because she's like you said, they're lifting her up. I'm like, why are you here? And I also like her, and I think she is a beautiful woman. And she's so good. Like, there's so many movies, Todd, and I love that have Rene Russo.
Her in concert golf movie. Tin Cup. Really good.
And she's in The Line of Fire, which I like that movie. Kind of young for Clint. You know what I mean? Oh my God, yeah. Like, that's kind of crazy.
That's just a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. But she bugs. And she also, it's total 80s, like Seinfeld, Lane from Seinfeld hair, where her hair is like beautiful, but they'll put like just part of it in a ponytail and the rest of it is in her face.
Yeah.
I always, and again, I probably did that at some point in the 80s. Who knows? But, put it this way, as always, hair dates us because we know when it actually took place. So I have a favorite. My favorite line from this movie is, do you have a favorite line?
Yeah, I got best quote.
Okay, best.
Force be with you.
Go ahead.
So I sent you through email a video.
Okay. I haven't quite opened up my inbox, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, you could probably find it because it is, again, my buddy Pedro Serrano. And it's at the beginning when all of the players show up for camp. And again, our buddy Dorn shows up all dressed up with his golf clubs, and every one of his golf clubs has like one of those furry tops on it. What do you call those? Golf club protectors?
Club head covers.
Club head covers. And then Serrano walks by and he says, "Hats for bats."
Yeah.
Keeps bats warm.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Doran's kind of like, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah.
But he takes it anyway. And then what I love is it's a callback.
For bat.
Keeps bats warm. But then at the end of the movie, when he's choosing his bat before he hits that home run, he has the warmer on.
Yeah.
So like it's still there. And then there's another scene I like where everyone is gathered around behind Serrano, because I feel like Jake says, "Que pasa, Serrano," or something like that. And he's trying to get Joe Boo to help him. I don't know. As I said at the beginning, Serrano's my favorite character because I love Joe Boo.
A few best quotes that we haven't shared. We did Jabu needs a refill.
You keep saying Jabu.
I know.
Why do you say that? You got to tell the story.
It's not even a funny story.
Oh,
Me and
okay.
Casey always say it used to be whatever. It's probably not even appropriate.
Okay, got it. Let's not then.
You may run like Hayes, but you hit like shit. That's a good quote. How's your wife and my kids? Which is probably, and that was not written in the script. The actor Vukovic came up with that. We did the too high, and then I guess there's one thing left to do: win the whole effing thing. So those were the best quotes that I had.
Yeah.
Did we do all the categories?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we have left is a song.
I got it.
Music game. See, I didn't like this because I couldn't come up with anything.
Oh, good. Maybe I'll win today.
What I chose instead was what my walk-up song would be.
Well, I'm going to do my music
go ahead.
game thing.
You go ahead.
First, I got to do the sound effect for the music game.
Okay.
All right. So this is the song that gives the describes the vibe of the movie, and here we go. This is my entry. Ain't no way we'll lose it.
That's pretty good, Ted, because
Thanks,
it's
babe.
kind of from that era.
That's right.
And it is exactly how they're feeling.
That's right.
like
What do you
it.
got?
So like I said, I could not find one that I thought worked because everything is like too obvious, like Put Me in Coach
Ooh, I
or
love that
Wild
song.
Thing from the movie, or, I just couldn't find anything that I thought fit. But one thing I really love about going to baseball games that I pay really close attention to is every ball player chooses what their walk-up song is.
And so do little leaguers now too. It's kind of funny.
It's awesome. And that if you didn't know that already, probably most people do. But, that's a cool thing because you kind of get to know their personality a little bit or what they're listening to or whatever. And I remember when we started going to White Sox games together in 2004 when they won the World Series. And I remember that the Big Hurts walk-up song was Big Pimpin'.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? And I would always get really excited because it was like the best part of the song that they would play. So I was like trying to go through like what would make sense for baseball. This is such a random pick that I have, by the way, because I'm still trying to make it make sense for this movie and for me and for baseball and for this, this whole story.
Yeah.
So I chose a Cars song.
Okay.
Okay. And I chose the song Let's Go.
Let's Go by the Cars.
And from the very beginning, like it's kind of like energy,
Okay.
and the words are really good too. My walk-up song, Todd.
So would it be the beginning of the song is what they would play when you walk up, or the middle of the song?
I think the beginning, because people know this song. Like what this is going to be, right? Do you know this song?
Yeah.
So you don't need to play the words then.
Baby. I know the song. Okay.
What do you think? You haven't given me any props for it.
I
You
don't like the
it?
Cars, and I don't like this song, and I don't like your walk-up song, but I love you. Any more props?
No, we'll end on that.
Next week, it's either going to be Rocky 1
It
or
is going to be Rocky 1.
we're deciding.
Why are we still deciding?
Because I said maybe we'll do a bunch of sports movies for April. You're like, yeah, maybe that instead.
But this was our transition, right?
I think at the end of last week's podcast, or maybe after the podcast, we talked about maybe doing other movies. It's just a lot of Rocky.
Okay, that's fine. I will be open.
To be continued.
Unlike you appreciating my walk-up song,
Yes.
I will appreciate your feedback about doing baseball movies.
And I love Rocky. It's just that'd be a lot of Rocky for a month.
But people like Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think that you're thinking they'll be bored, but they're 4 completely different movies. Drago, Mr. T.
Oh, I know.
Apollo.
I'm familiar. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Keep trucking. Where is stop? There's stop.